Thank you for listening to the Weeknight Mysteries podcast. My name is Yoras and I am here with my co-host Rain. How are you today?
Hello everyone. I'm doing pretty okay as always. How are you today?
I'm good. Today we're going to be talking about Teteteke Gqotsi and Sandile Sibiya's strange death cases. These are two men who have died under very strange circumstances. Both of them died in South Africa. They were both South Africans, and they both died in the hospital. And I don't think neither of them, when they went to the hospital, had a life-threatening, let's say, condition. So the fact that they were dead is completely bizarre. And I guess we're going to be talking about it because we have no idea what happened here. And this is a situation that you brought to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you run across Teteke's and Sandile's case?
As always, my favorite in Reddit. I was scrolling and I found this case really mysterious because these two men, they died in a hospital, but not in the way that you would expect. They weren't found on the bed.
Where were they found?
In the ceiling.
Both of them were found in the ceiling.
Yeah. So I don't know, it kind of blew my mind because at first I was like, okay, this is interesting. As I read more into it, I was like, how did they end up there? I couldn't possibly think of any way
that these two men would end up being in the ceiling. Well, I would say let's go through the story and then let's see what we think.
Let's go for it.
So I want to start the story with Sandile's case first, and then we could jump to Teteke's case later.
Wait, isn't Sandile the more recent one?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's generally happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandile, he was basically 53-year-old man, a construction worker from South Africa. On May 10th, back in 2019, so, before COVID, he was helping his neighbor with a house repair. And when the wall collapsed, he had broken his femur, which is a very nasty situation. It's not life-threatening from, what I've looked into, but it must be addressed immediately in order for the femur bone to heal properly. So his family members did the rational thing. Yeah.
And I would just like to emphasize that this isn't like he could still walk. This is a grave injury.
He can't walk anymore.
At all.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
His family took him to the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Hospital, located in the western portion of South Africa, in the third biggest city, called Durban. It's still a pretty big city. It has a few million people living there, so it's a pretty big city.
Did you look into it? How does it look like?
Durban?
Mm-hmm.
Durban apparently is one of the nicer cities in South Africa.
Oh.
It has a coastal coastal vibe a little bit, so it's a pretty nice city from the Google images at least.
Is it more of like a peaceful kind of city, or was it kind of more on the chaotic side?
I don't know that much about it. I think South Africa has a lot of violence troubles in general, but I think it depends on where you are. I think, it depends in which neighborhoods you are at, because we hear stories from South Africa that are not the best,
And sometimes it's like executive, right? Like some areas I meant. Maybe the richer parts.
Yeah, we've seen some videos, what I mean? Have you seen the video where I think it was ATM people were driving, like the official ATM guys?
Or the security people driving the money from one point to another?
Have you seen the video?
Nope.
You haven't seen the video? It's like a legendary video now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like legendary. Everybody's seen it. I'm actually surprised you haven't seen it. It's
what happened there?
Two guys driving, the ATM guys
Security guys?
Yeah, security guys driving the van. And they got attacked by a gang or something like that, and the gang was literally like shooting into their at them through the windows. Now, luckily, their van was bulletproof, so the bullets didn't go through, and the guy just somehow managed to drive away. But it was a crazy video.
Oh, jeez, that's crazy. It feels like a GTA kind of scenario.
It was. That's one thing. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure most people have seen it, and obviously that's not what South Africa is.
Going back to our story.
Yeah, going back to our story, that's probably not what South Africa is on a daily basis, but still, there's some crazy stuff happening there. Yeah. That's for sure. So after an initial assessment, Sandile, the man that we're talking about, and his initial treatment, the medical provider recommended that he would be transferred to another hospital, to Addington Hospital. It was also kind of close by. I think it was also in Durban, somewhere in that general vicinity, because he needed an orthopedic specialist's help because he had a femur issue. So everything seems normal so far in the story, but things kind of get super crazy right now because when it was time for him to be transferred, because at this point Sandile can't walk, so they need to transfer him, the nurse goes into his room where he's supposed to be at, and he is not there anymore. So Sandile is missing. A 52-year-old man with a broken femur who could definitely not walk on his own, he is missing.
Is there a possibility he could have just hopped off?
But I don't think
then
so.
Again, it doesn't make any sense, because why would he want to do that?
Yeah, I don't think he can just walk out of that circumstance. Mm-hmm. So the medical staff, according to what they're telling us, they started searching for Sandile, but he remained missing. So after the search was unsuccessful, the medical staff reported him as a missing person to the South African Police Department, and Sandile would remain a missing person for 2 more weeks. Because 2 weeks later, on the 25th, something strange was happening in the hospital. There was a very bad odor, an unbearable stench that was emanating from a storeroom, like a janitor's storeroom in the hospital, and also from the top of the ceiling there was some sort of suspicious fluid leaking. Like fluid was dropping down from the ceiling, and it was a very bad odor there. So it was Friday, it was May 25th, and when they looked into the ceiling, they found Sandile's decomposing remains.
I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Please.
I just wanted to know, like, how many days before when Sandile disappeared.
I think it would be like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Can you imagine the stench?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
Can you imagine? Like, you forget beef outside of your fridge for a little bit, it starts to be bad. Like, can you imagine like a whole human?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the newly appointed official lady for the, I think, KwaZulu-Natal Health, I assume this is some sort of a public healthcare institution. Maybe they're like health ministry or something like that. I have no idea what this is. KZN is the, what it's called, KZN. So the official KZN minister or whatever, a lady called Nomagugu Simelene Zulu, she released a statement, and she promised that they will investigate and get to the bottom of how Sandile ended up in the ceiling when he had a broken femur, and how did no one notice that he just somehow vanished from his hospital bed, and how would that even be explainable? So despite the reassurance, KZN continued to claim that there were no security issues at the hospital and that the processes and procedures were up to standard. So KZN was basically saying that it's a mystery what happened to Sandile because everything in the hospital runs properly. So there's no way something like that could have happened, and they had no explanation for how Sandile died.
Nothing at all.
No, and that's basically, I think that's basically where, if I'm not mistaken, because I've spent some time looking at this topic online. So if I'm not mistaken, this is literally where this particular story kind of ends.
I just find it so odd that nobody at all knew about it, or at least heard. Because how could you transport one man up the ceiling? And the stench, how did it end up staying there for like 2 weeks? It's crazy. Don't you think so?
I mean, I think it's insane. And this is where we're going to bring in another man, Teteteke, I think it's Teteteke Gqotsi?
Gqotsi. I think so.
Teteteke Gqotsi, another man from South Africa who had experienced a very similar death a couple of years earlier. In 2017, he was found in the ceiling of Stellenbosch Hospital, located in South Africa's western part. So sorry, I think I did a brain fart earlier. Durban is actually not on the western part of South Africa, it's on the eastern part. And I think it's important because we're now talking about Stellenbosch Hospital, where Teteteke was found dead, and this hospital was on the other side of the country. And South Africa has 60 million people, so it's a big country with a lot of people, and these two incidents are happening on the other side of the country. So just to kind of make sure we are understanding that this is not the same hospital or the same city.
Are they in any way close to each other?
No. Like on the other side of the country, literally. Like one's on
No,
the east coast
yeah.
and one's on the west.
But the first hospital where Sandile was, remember that was the first hospital? And I think it was the Gandhi Hospital
Yes.
you mentioned. That was close to where he was supposed to go.
Yeah, they were supposed to transfer him.
But he never quite made it.
No, because he went missing, allegedly. So Teteteke was a 61-year-old when he was admitted to the hospital for an abdominal surgery on October 5th in 2017. A nurse reported that she would check on him at 5:15 a.m. in the early morning hours. And she basically, what she told the media, and this is kind of hard to believe, but what she told the media is that she stepped out from his room to get a new pair of linens, and she only stepped out for 5 minutes. And when she came back at 5:20 a.m., Teteteke was gone.
I don't believe it.
Teteteke was gone in 5 minutes.
No, I don't believe it. There's no way he would have walked out. Come on. He just underwent surgery.
For some sort of abdominal situation. And yeah, he just literally underwent surgery.
No, I don't think he could have just walk away.
So what the nurse said, that she placed a phone call to the family on October 7th, 2 days after he went missing. So a guy goes under surgery, you step out for 5 minutes, you come back in, he's gone, and so you wait 2 days to call the family. And you know what she said when she called the family? I think she called the brother. And you know what she said to the brother?
What?
She said, "Is Teteteke at home with you guys? Have you seen Teteteke?"
After 2 days.
Yeah, she was like, did he go back to home? So she was basically already she was already modeling the whole situation as if
Teteteke walked out.
left on his own accord in 5 minutes. What he did, jump out the window, who knows? But they're already fabricating. I believe they're fabricating.
They could be in some sort of a panic.
They're in a fabric.
No, They could have been in some sort of panic mode. Because it's a hospital, they're trying to protect their image. And now they're like, oh,
But why are they in the panic mode? What happened to Teteteke?
They don't know. And but I don't understand.
They lost Teteteke.
Yeah.
They lost it. Oh, you're saying they lost Teteteke.
Yeah, and they were in a panic mode, like, oh, where did this guy go? Oh, maybe let's just call the family and made it seem like he walked out.
Well, I have a different idea.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. But it doesn't add up to the fact that they waited 2 days.
That's true. Why would you wait 2 days? You know what I mean?
Hoping for Teteteke to come back. Which is
to
weird.
The hospital? Why would he come back to the
After
hospital?
After major surgery?
So this is where we're standing with both of these cases. Teteteke and Sandile, both of them are missing up to this point. Oh, sorry, they're not missing. Both of them are passed away.
Perished.
But we have no idea what actually happened. The medical facilities, or I think the authorities, they didn't really release that much information about it. It almost seems like they're trying to keep this under wraps. They don't want this story to kind of get out there. The brother of Teteteke, a man by the name of Christmas Ketwain.
Christmas?
Yeah, his name is Christmas. Kind of a nice name.
Oh, nice.
He stated that he felt that his whole family was left in the dark, and the family was actually losing hope to find any answers from police, because police reported that, well, they said that the autopsy results for Teteke's case pointed to a natural cause of death. You just naturally die in a ceiling in a hospital. And Teteke's daughter would also report that the investigation seemingly went nowhere, and that she was told that there was nothing more that the law enforcement could do at that point. And speaking about Sandile's case, so Sandile's family also demanded answers, reporting that they were originally denied the ability to even view Sandile's body. Very little follow-up information was provided to Sandile's family, and there's no concrete determination of how Sandile passed away as well. So we have two cases where two men, seemingly with no strange backgrounds, no mental issues, no prior health issues, just two guys. One's in his 60s, the other's in his 50s. Like, they're not the youngest people in the world, but they're also not like super old. They're still okay. And they're still, like they're good, normal people. They seem to be like normal citizens. They have never had any legal problems, nothing. Just as average of human beings as you get. And both of them are found in ceilings after checking in for not even life-threatening stuff in the hospital.
Something's up with the hospital.
One guy just broke his femur. He didn't expect to die in the ceiling when he went to that hospital.
Were there any autopsies conducted?
Yeah. And I think in both cases, if I'm not mistaken, in both cases, it was determined that both of these men died of natural causes in the ceiling.
I don't buy it at all. No, this is the most unbelievable autopsy report ever.
Yeah. So, what do you think could be happening here?
I would honestly investigate the nurses. Maybe a nurse or multiple. And maybe there was, I don't know, some sort of an overlap in the career. Because somehow, I don't know if have you heard about the angel of death, I believe? Yeah, the angel of death, the nurse.
Oh, I've heard about her, yeah.
I think
I've
like
heard about
Nurse
her.
Jones.
I think I heard something like that.
And she was working in a hospital, and she would like intentionally try to murder children for some weird reason. And she was convicted. And I don't know, for some reason, this kept on popping in my head. Like, was there a nurse who or like multiple nurses or a doctor maybe who did the same thing.
This is actually very good what you're bringing up, because honestly, a lot of my information for this case came from just a handful of articles, and then also a username from Reddit called Foxnet93 made an amazing post on the Reddit about this particular case, and they kind of listed down as that there might be 3 possible theories
Okay,
to
let's hear it.
explain the murders. Oh, sorry, not the murder, the death. What am I saying? Not murders. So the first one would be that actually something that you've mentioned, that maybe there's a person working,
Or people.
I would say maybe more likely than it's one person. One person who's working in the hospital in 2017 where Teteteke went, and then in another hospital.
Switch hospitals,
Yeah,
right?
switch hospitals. And they committed the same crime, whatever that would be.
But that was the end of it, right? There are no other
Exactly.
victims.
Yes, I tried looking for similar cases, and I couldn't find anything. I literally Googled and I tried to find something similar happening again, and no, this is the only 2 times when it happened. So yeah, it is. Well, I've also watched Mr. Bolland's YouTube video about this case, and I went to his comment section, and there were actually a lot of people from South Africa commenting, and they have a unanimous verdict that it's the medical facilities issue,
Definitely.
and that things like this happens on a regular basis in public hospitals.
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently if you go to a public hospital in South Africa, you basically are doing that as the last resort. I think first, you need to try to get yourself to a private one. And if you can't go to the private one, I guess you just, as a last ditch effort, you will go to the public one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because look what's happening. Look what's happening with
No,
these people.
this is not even incompetence. This is just like borderline murder. Well, not borderline, like straight up
Not
murder.
Not necessarily. So this is the first theory, that there's
Okay.
a person who's like maliciously killing people all across South Africa and then ditching their bodies in ceilings, which I don't see how one person pulls this off.
Exactly.
But regardless, that's a theory. Now there's another theory that maybe there's another patient who is responsible. That maybe in Sandile's case or in Teteke's case, maybe there was another patient who was with him and is responsible. Now, I don't think that you believe in this one, and I don't think I believe in this one that much, but it's worth mentioning because you can't really rule out anything. Yep.
Can I say one thing?
Of course, just say anything.
I really strongly disagree with this because the police and the hospital were too protective. So it must be someone from within the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
If it was a patient, they would have just let the information out.
Yeah.
This is the murderer.
Yeah.
But it seems like something's going on there.
Besides, how would someone really, at least in Teteke's case, it's pretty unbelievable. Because Teteteke apparently literally wasn't accounted for 5 minutes when the nurse left. So, I mean, that nurse is clearly lying.
Definitely.
And I wonder if that nurse still has a job.
I wonder if that nurse was investigated
Can
on.
we find the name of this nurse? Because, like, we at least can say for certain that this nurse is, like, lying.
Definitely.
And if she's still working, then it's kind of insane.
Definitely insane.
Like,
yeah.
if that nurse who gave that 5-minute story, if she's still employed, then it's very bad. In my opinion, she should be unemployed at this point. Anyways, going back
Lost the license and all.
Yeah, going back to the story.
I have one more thing though.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If it was one person, it was a ceiling. And it should be a big man who could lift up men.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And-
Dead men.
And in Sandile's case, you literally have to transport him into the janitor's room. Because Teteteke, I think Teteteke was found in the ceiling, maybe on the same room where he was
The
at.
recovery room.
Yeah. But Sandile was found in the ceiling in the janitor's closet. So someone would have to move his body. Anyways, now we're going to theory number 3, and in my opinion, the most credible theory here.
Wait, what's the theory number 2?
No,
Did I
theory
miss
is
it?
that another patient.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Theory number 3 is that there's a huge chance that both of these men were treated with opioids for pain relieving reasons, and it went wrong. Maybe the person prescribing the opioids gave them too much or mixed up, because opioids apparently in the clinical guidelines in South Africa are likely to be used for pain management, and for both of these cases they would be applicable. And things like buprenorphine, fentanyl, hydromorphone, morphine, and oxycodone could be used. And there is a chance that, I don't know how they would provide them with this stuff, but I know that maybe potentially
They overdosed.
yeah, and it could be even a mistake. I'm thinking maybe from the anesthesiologist, who is, the person responsible to putting you under anesthesia. I believe that both of these men were under anesthesia for, I think so.
I think major.
Yeah, major anesthesia. And I think that maybe both of them died during the anesthesia process because they were given too much anesthesia.
Is that a crime though? For example, you're
Yes, of course it's a crime because
no. But what if it's a human mistake?
No, you don't make that mistake. You have to be really bad. Like your whole process. Like if you make that mistake, you shouldn't have a license anymore, because you are not supposed to make that mistake. And I mean, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard to not make that mistake. Because like, for example, if you're gonna give someone fentanyl, there's like a specific amount you're supposed to give. So you're not gonna give them like two or three times what they need. Like, you know exactly how much fentanyl you need to give to a person to put them to sleep. So I think this could be a malpractice where, they gave the patient fentanyl, but maybe in the bottle it wasn't actually fentanyl. Maybe the hospital mixed up fentanyl with some other stuff, and that other stuff paralyzed and killed that person. You know what I mean? I feel like it could be a situation where they were thinking that they're giving the person like fentanyl to like kind of put them in a, like to knock them out. But in reality, they gave them something else. Now they're both dead, and they never even go to no recovery rooms. Immediately after the staff realizes that both of these men are dead, they put them up in the ceiling, and the next day they go have a Monday morning meeting and they come up with a story. Now, I have problems with this. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because now I'm thinking, if that's the case, do you think it's only one person acting on this?
No, the whole
hospital.
At
They
least
were protecting.
Yeah, most of the people in the hospital.
But this is such a weird way to do it, Because it's like, Teteteke, they could just mention, the operation failed.
No,
sorry.
because they would have to explain what failed. And if you would explain, we mixed up it, we didn't give him fentanyl, we gave him something else. Oops, sorry.
He bled out in the operating room, maybe.
No, it doesn't work that way. You have to explain why.
But come on, there must be something better than stashing one up the ceiling.
That's what I have a problem with. I don't understand why they had to go with putting them in the ceiling. And I think I may know how this went down. I think I may know how.
Okay.
The only way I could see how these people put these two men in the ceiling is that there's a limited amount of people who know.
They could easily just blame it on another patient.
They can't, man. It doesn't work that way. I'm telling you. It's like there's accountability. It's not that easy. I'm telling you, it's not that easy. Like when the investigation is gonna come
Or like
in
at
there,
least put them in the morgue.
that's true. But like
Put them in a body bag.
I think maybe also the decision making under that circumstance is like kind of hectic.
Effed up.
Yeah, quick. So I could see how maybe the people in the operating room, they were like, oh my God, this guy is dead. Let's put him in the ceiling right now. Let's clean up. Maybe no one's going to see us. And they were thinking, maybe it's too risky to take him out of the room, stash his body. You know, these are doctors. They still went to like medical school. So they're not like, you know, like grisly killers who will just chop up a body and, you know, like hide it in a million different pieces, like or throw it in the water. You know, they don't have that mindset. They're good preppy kids who finished medical school, but the you know, the medical hospital probably doesn't work. Processes are out of whack. There's no security checks. It's basically the whole thing is a disaster. And they're like, okay, they're not killers. They made the mistake, but they don't want to lose their jobs because they worked literally like 12 years medical school to get to this place.
Yeah, and then let's stash them up the ceiling.
Yeah, and I could see how this is a decision made by someone who's not a killer, who made a really bad mistake, probably a mistake that would cost them their job. And they don't want to lose their job because in South Africa, you're probably you're doing better than most people if you're a doctor. So you don't want to go back to being a...
Oh, come on.
random,
We're not even
and
sure.
also probably legal problems. Probably even go to
Most
jail.
likely.
Yeah, maybe even go to jail. So there's a bunch of bad things that are about to happen. So you're stressed out and you put them in the ceiling.
No, that's not how a normal person minds work. It's just so odd to me. Like the ceiling is like the last thing on your head.
No, it's not. It's not. It's really
Really?
not. No, it's really not. Because think about it. Where else are you going to put the body? If
I don't know, in the trash bin.
No.
Like roll in the trash bin.
Everyone's going to see. You need to do it in the moment. ASAP.
But Sandile was transported in the janitor's closet.
Yeah, maybe the janitor's closet was like close to the operating room. They immediately, like, they checked, like maybe there was only like 10 people who knew.
But maybe, I mean, come on. You have to think that maybe they realized that, they're gonna figure out soon. The body is gonna stench.
Yeah, they were probably,
stink.
they were probably stressed out every day. And they knew it's gonna come out.
So do you think these person or people, were they protected by the whole hospital? Because the autopsy is very shady.
Yeah. I think there's probably some sort of cover up happening.
Strings were pulled.
Yeah, because I feel like the management and the police. I mean, come on, it's very obvious what has happened to these two men. In my opinion, it's like super obvious, right? Medical staff, one way or shape or form, is responsible for their death. Like, there's no way about it. Like, they killed these two men. It's like case closed. And for them to not be in jail, no one going to jail, no one loses their jobs, they're protected. They probably paid off the local authorities because they're doctors. They have a lot of money and they paid off the local authorities.
I mean,
corruption is probably high in South Africa.
They could have just done that without stashing the bodies in the ceiling.
No, they had to do something in the moment.
I mean, they're already like paying someone off anyways.
No, but they don't know how things are gonna work out. You have to think about it. It's happening in the moment. Like, you have to do something in the moment, right? Or am I crazy? Like, please, audience members, am I crazy for thinking the way I'm thinking? I'm just thinking, like, if it happens in the moment, you will probably not make the most strategic decision in the world.
How do you even lift up like a 50-year-old man?
I don't know. You just get a bunch of guys and you do it. You know.
Interesting.
No, that's just how it plays out. Like, that's, unless I'm crazy. That's how it played out, in my opinion. Unless I'm crazy.
Okay, now another theory. since we're kind of exploring all of the possibilities here, this one's very unlikely, but I would just need to ask, do you think there's a possibility that these two men went up to the ceiling themselves, hiding from someone, whatever, trying to get out of the room, whatever? I don't know.
I don't think so, because one guy had a broken femur,
Yeah.
and the other guy was literally just recovering from surgery.
Yeah, I don't think they have like the strength to even do.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I just have to mention
No,
that.
yeah, that was also mentioned, what you just said.
Oh,
Some people were kind of like asking that question, but no. In my opinion, it's a complete cover-up. It's a cover-up, and I do think that not everyone in the hospital knows. I think there's like a group of people who know. Maybe another group of people, they also kind of know, but they don't want to ask any questions. They're just like hush-hush about it. I think the local authorities have been paid off by the medical staff who are directly responsible. I think they panicked in the moment. I think they hid their bodies in the ceiling because this was the only place where they could put the bodies immediately and out of sight so that others wouldn't see. And I think that they were just waiting it out. They knew that eventually the bodies would be found, but they were just gonna stick to their original story that, oh, we thought the men left already, they disappeared on their own accord. I do have like some, and I think it was done in a very bad way, like in a very clumsy way, because you have that one lady with the linen coming out and giving like the most stupid story ever. Like, oh, I went out to check the linens and 5 minutes later he's gone right after a surgery. Come on, that's so bad. Like,
maybe it wasn't
like,
even 5 minutes. Maybe she just thought it was 5 minutes.
no,
Maybe she got preoccupied.
No, she's clearly lying, first of all.
Yeah,
She's clearly
well,
lying. But why say 5 minutes? Like, say that it was like, I don't-
20, half an hour, an
or
hour.
like you didn't find him in the morning, you know, like, oh, he left during the night. So I think there's like a lot of like clumsy miscommunication, and I think the whole story wasn't aligned between the people who were in on it. So I think there's a lot of clumsy stuff happening here. I think it's just really sad that Teteteke and Sandile, you know what I mean, two men who just
Innocent men.
had like just not super minor stuff, but like they had like things where you're not gonna die in the 21st century. You're not gonna die from these, like, you know what I mean, conditions, and you go to like a public hospital.
You
and-
trusted
yeah,
the system.
you go to South African public hospital and then you don't come out because someone mixed up fentanyl with something else.
Or there was something else. Malpractice. Maybe not even.
Yeah, I think it's just someone messed up. Come on.
I do have one more theory that could be highly unlikely as well, but I
Alright.
just have to mention it.
All right.
Could it be potentially just a full cover-up story? Were they even in the ceiling in the first place? Or do you think there's just a hospital made up that story? Maybe they died on their beds, but this whole crazy story was just made up by the hospital or someone, a doctor or whatever. They potentially died of malpractice, and to save themselves, to save the hospital, to save their image, they're like, oh, we found him in the ceiling, made it mysterious, made it kind of creepy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what happened basically, but I don't know exactly how it happened. But I think someone's covering it up. You know, it's all a fake story. I do think that both of them got injured, and they are real people with real
But do you think they
families.
were actually found in the ceiling?
Yeah, because I think there were like even images.
Really? Jeez, I
Yeah.
didn't see the images.
They're in our file. I'm gonna be showing them on YouTube. We don't have the bodies, but you know, we have like a picture of the ceiling, like kind of digged up and stuff like that. And I think that's a real crime picture, crime scene picture from Teteke's case, I believe, where we have this ceiling.
Oh yeah, I could see. Oh my gosh, that's really creepy.
Yeah, so it really happened. Like this, they were found in the ceilings.
Okay, before seeing the pictures, I was kind of picturing those, I don't know, I don't know if you've seen it before, but like those like ceilings that have like kind of like grid lines,
And
like
that
little
you could kind of
boxes.
push. Yeah, I think all of us were imagining them, and I do think that maybe that's what they actually even happened.
It looks like a solid ceiling though.
yeah, tell us what you see here.
I could see like just I don't even know how to explain it.
It looks like a solid piece of
Wood that you can't just push
yeah.
upwards.
Seems like a solid piece of ceiling.
Yeah. I don't know, it's crazy. It doesn't seem like you could like just put the body there that easy. I mean, in the first place, not easy.
Yeah. That's true. It looks like how would you even?
Maybe
do
there's
that?
another opening,
Yeah, maybe. That could be the case.
right?
Yes.
There's no way someone actually like I don't know opened up the ceiling and threw them up there and then closed it over.
Yeah. Well, I made my opinion pretty clear about this one.
Yeah, this case is. I
What,
mean,
what about you? No, I just want to get your like verdict.
I think it's definitely the medical staff. Like,
Yeah.
but right now, and maybe in the future, I have no idea, and I will never have an idea on how their bodies ended up in the ceiling. There are a lot of questions, uncertainties, and a lot of
Yeah.
cover-ups, and it's extremely maddening and frustrating that this happened to innocent men who trusted the system. They just want to be better. They just want to be back to normal, and they died in one of the worst like ways possible.